What's the members only preview?
Oh, you heard about that, huh?
Wait, what? I was joking about us being the members getting a sneak peek.
Who says streaming is just for gamers? Emily D. Baker goes live on YouTube each and every week, several times a week, to hundreds of thousands of law nerds, her community that sits at the intersection of celebrity trials and deep legal analysis. A former Los Angeles deputy district attorney with almost 2 decades of experience, she's used fan funding and memberships to not only grow her channel, but a whole new, wholly incredible career. And who says YouTube only does ads? Bangaly is Director of Product Management at YouTube, focused on fan funding, super chats, super stickers, super thanks, and yeah, memberships, setting them up, joining them, gifting them. That's his team, making sure creators have more options, more ways to thrive on YouTube, specifically ways that draw from community and deep audience connection, so the platform can support a far wider range of channels and content. And I'm Renee, longtime creator, now YouTube's official liaison, who gets to bring them both together to share all of their most candid membership and community secrets with all of you on this, the Creator Insider Podcast. Fun fact, just before we get started, Emily and I have actually known each other, I think, over a decade, but we met for the first time at VidCon last year, which I love.
I was so excited to get to meet you in person after we had interacted on the interwebs. I mean, I watched YouTube. Oh, don't tell my former employer this, all the time when I was at the DA's office. Like, I would be watching MacBreak Weekly and watching tech content on my computer. When you look at my YouTube channel, it says my channel started in 2006. It's because the DA's office was watching a lot of YouTube videos from our work computers.
So I think that gets to the heart of what we want to talk about today. What does community mean to you? Because you are sitting in front of a computer, a streaming rig. I picture it to be something out of Star Wars. And you are beaming your knowledge, your experience, your insight, your savvy to literally hundreds of thousands of people at a time. What does that feel like?
It's a lot of fun to get to have a conversation truly worldwide about the law and about pop culture cases and help people understand. But law is a conversation. I've been a lawyer, gosh, over 18 years now, and there's times that you forget what you know and forget how much you know. And so being able to answer questions in real time makes sure that I'm breaking things down in a way that people are understanding, not just who are familiar with the US system of law, but all over the world. And that's a really incredible thing to be able to have that conversation in real time. And I always say law is a conversation.
When you think about community, Emily, and you think about building community, are you concentrating on that like core group, that 1,000 true fans who are with you like ride or die almost every stream? Are you focusing on the broader audience, the more casual audience who might dip in or out? Even though there's many more of them, they may not attach to you as much, or is it like a balancing act?
I love that you said 1,000 true fans, because I think our smaller live streams now are at about 10,000 live concurrent viewers. So the law nerds are mighty and will be heard on a live stream. But I really focus on our community. That community started with 10 people on a live stream, then 100, and it built from there. So I'm always focused on the law nerds that want to be there and have the conversation. Sometimes when life gets busy, you can't be on a live stream day after day for trial. Sometimes you are, and it doesn't make you any more or less a part of the community, because we always do things content-wise to facilitate the community feeling like they're not missing out. So most of my content strategy revolves around making sure that the live community has a good experience. But then if people are busy, they can stay up to date with cases so they don't feel like they're missing out when they get back to a live stream.
You said 2 things on there I want to tease out. One was law nerds, which is very primal branding to me, which is like very like connected community. You've actually given them an identity.
Well,
and the second is you said 10 people streaming to, and some people are worried they won't have people that they can stream to, but 10 people is like a coffee shop. And then like 100 people, that's like a small disco. And then 1,000 people, you're in like a venue. And then when you reach 200,000 people, you're selling out maybe Madison Square Garden. So like, does that sort of bringing together, naming the community, giving them an identity, is that what leads you from 10 to 1,000 to 100,000, where Bangaly's team can come in and help you turn that into a job?
It's funny because the law nerds are self-named. So the community named themselves. I did not name them the law nerds. The law nerds self-selected. As most things with my journey, I talk to my audience and listen when they ask. And I had been streaming for a while, and I didn't want to just be like, hey chat, because we're not just chat. There are times I will say chat is bae, because chat is like the 10,000 research attorneys that I sometimes wish I had. So they started calling themselves the law nerds because we definitely identify as a nerdy community that wants to talk about things that maybe people in our immediate vicinity aren't as interested in as we are. And the amazing thing about a platform like YouTube is it allows you to find people who are niche interested in the thing you're interested in and talk about it for 10 minutes or for 5 hours. And that's what's really incredible. So the nerd part of that came in somewhat through my Star Wars and Doctor Who references, but also because we really are fans of getting into the details of things and taking that conversation deeper, which you can only really do, I think, in a long form live stream. And that's what makes it so fun. So they self-named, and when you start building a community, there is a blessing to start live streaming to 10 or 20 people. That's still a conversation that you're having. And it would feel like a very, very busy dinner party if you were to have it all in your house. But that allows your community to start to grow organically. And then the community starts to find other members of the community through saying, oh, I was on this other stream. But it also gives YouTube time to find other viewers like your community too, so that you know when people are jumping onto your stream, they will very quickly integrate into your community, and then it starts to grow organically. I think it's much more sustainable for the community experience to grow in that way.
Bangaly, your team, I mean, there is traditional, AdSense goes all the way back to the YouTube Partner Program. Creators can monetize through ads. But there's something about that direct fan funding that I think when you get communities like Emily becomes so powerful.
Yeah, it is amazing. And the story that Emily has is actually a very common story. It's like you really start building community. You see a lot of this shared interest come about in these artifacts, like a name for the group, these kind of habits that you start seeing in the chat, like the kind of routines that start getting built. And when you start seeing these communities getting built, like my team really focuses on saying, how do we help creators to actually make a living off of this dedicated community and the quality of the interactions they're creating. And so that is kind of what our focus is. And the live stream is an important medium for that. We think it really allows people to really express themselves over a dedicated amount of time, to make sure there's concurrency, and that that synchronicity really helps to make sure people feel a part of the community. And so memberships does that in one way of really feeling like, okay, I can get something that's exclusive and unique to this community. But then also there's some paid digital goods that we try to mix in there that allow people to really feel like they can have a bigger voice or have some way of interacting with the stream in real time as well.
What I really love about that, to tack on, is that even if creators aren't necessarily comfortable live streaming initially, you can use the video premiere functions and take advantage of the chat by being in the chat yourself as a creator. So you can have a watch party and still take advantage of memberships in the chat and super chats and the other areas of fan funding in a premiere if you don't want to necessarily stream right out of the gate and are more comfortable with VOD. So there's really a lot of options for creators to find ways to engage and connect with their community in real time that don't always require you to be streaming. And I premiere one video a week. Those are the podcasts. I do it that way because they are shorter content at about an hour. So we have those conversations in the chat. I like getting to be part of the chat. It's an experience I also enjoy. And so I get to kind of do both as a creator, and I'm a member of a lot of my friends' channels, so I can pop into the chat and see, my name highlighted in my icon and send member chats. And it's a fun experience to get to be in a live stream chat as a user and as a creator. And I think creators forget that premiering videos is a really fun way to talk to your community.
And I'm sure it's a way for you to learn a lot about what your community wants and how they're thinking about it, and all the inside memes and discussions and stuff. I can't imagine for you everything you can take in just by being a part of the chat.
Is that part of the reason, Bangaly, why it's so important for YouTube to offer, like I'm sure there's some creators who use AdSense and fan funding, and I'm sure there's some creators who haven't gotten into live or haven't done much with fan funding, but it also feels like there are some communities where fan funding might be the, or at least the primary way that the creator makes a business out of their channel.
Yeah, I mean, we believe it. There's plenty of ways for this to be true. And like, you know, I think Emily can probably share more about her experience, but I think there's certain creators that have topics that like don't make sense, for example, for advertising, right? And if they are sensitive or they're like more adult in nature, then you don't want to like have that necessarily exposed to the general public. You want to have a community that's a little bit smaller or behind closed doors. Fan funding can be a great way for that to happen. But I also think just in general, there are certain types of experiences, like, for example, gamers. We know that a lot of gamers will spend a lot of time, really, like, a lot of the value is showing people how to play a game, like allowing them to have a shared experience. And that's a lot of that comes in a live stream. But even if it doesn't, like, you know, we're introducing a lot of new features like members-only shorts. And so you can imagine a world, for example, working with some sports teams around the world who are offering the opportunity to really, for people to dig into their fandom and their passion around the team by offering behind-the-scenes clips as shorts, or on the pitch pregame, or, you know what I mean, like, or in the locker room, or AMAs with your favorite player. And so, like, sometimes there's a lot of connection that you really want to be able to build that doesn't necessarily make sense from an advertising perspective because it's just somewhat different and unique. And so that's what we're trying to enable, because advertising will always be an incredible revenue stream for creators, but we want to make sure that they can really fulfill their suite of options with fan funding.
Absolutely. And Bangaly was 100% right in saying that there is content that I don't monetize, either because the case doesn't feel right for me to monetize or because of the nature of the case. Some of the more sensitive cases are just, they're cases that are important to cover, but it doesn't make them cases that you want to run advertisement against necessarily. There are things that happen in live court. There are words that are said that are not particularly advertiser friendly. And for me, I don't even try to monetize those because with fan funding, I get the choice to monetize or not. And our community is so strong that I'm also able to bring in sponsors who understand the types of cases I cover and the content I cover, who are like, well, we understand and we're opting in, so I don't need to turn monetization on those videos. I also don't like turning monetization on while I'm live just because the user experience is different for the user. But because my community is so strong, I can choose what I want to do with AdSense in a way that makes the most sense for me, because the fan funding part of it is such an incredible way to grow. And I know a lot of my community has said, look, when we're streaming trial, I basically am not streaming any other content anywhere on any platform, no TV, no Netflix, whatever. We're just doing this all day. And so it really becomes a way for the community to support me and me to provide more content for the community.
When we talk about fan funding, you have things like super chats, super thanks, super stickers, but you also have memberships. So you can go live and just do the supers part of that and maybe not have a membership, or you can have a membership and maybe just post things in there and not go live, or you can sort of do this thing where they all work harmoniously together. Could you just discuss a little bit about the options and how you think about it for creators? Because I think some of us are shy and timid and it's not always easy to ask for money or think that we're worth money. And that feels like just like a roadblock every creator has to push through.
What we're trying to do is like really give creators control, give them a way of providing value in ways that they feel like are authentic and meaningful for their audience. And so that might mean like creating special content or creating special experiences, offering special perks that you can only get if you're a member. And that might mean, some creators do this in a live stream. Some creators do this in a long form video. We've also introduced this concept of early access, where you might create a video that's going to be public, but as a member, you get to watch it for 48 or 72 hours before everyone else. And so it's really about control and just saying, hey, I want to be able to offer something, and I believe it's valuable. And so part of getting over the hump of like not asking for money is the creator having to believe that the thing that they're offering is actually valuable for the community that they built, and really celebrating and making it special. So that's one part, but I think on the other side, you have things like the super chat, super thanks. These are products where we basically allowed people to have more of a voice, to be able to interact a little bit more during a live stream or like in a VOD. And it's no work for the creator really, but it's a way for the community to really express themselves and express their appreciation in real time or during the comments of a VOD video. And so I think what we're trying to do is really just allow that enable expression. And what you'll see is more kind of like riffs on this in the future as we launch new products.
Absolutely. I don't feel as a creator like I ask my audience for money, because I don't ask my audience for money. I offer them things that they can choose to opt into or not, depending on where they're at. But most of my content on the platform is free because I want people to have access to the information I'm sharing. And then how the community chooses to engage with that, they get to make those choices. I let them know what's available most of the time. Sometimes I forget, but the community knows the products that are already on the platform. So the platform's made it real easy if you're in a live chat to see where the super chats are, to see where the memberships are. Those things are already baked into the platform. I don't have to educate my audience about how to do that because they can see it. My community is tremendously generous. The gifted memberships have been such an incredible way for the community to give back to each other. And when they gift memberships, people get a month of a trial to see what the members only content is. And it highlights in the stream and it celebrates. And we have members that gift 20 plus memberships every single time that I'm live. And they're kind of like our fairy godmothers of the chat, gifting memberships. And it's one of my favorite things to do when I go to my friends' streams, is to gift memberships into their community as well. It's a really positive way to celebrate other people in the community and watch how thrilled people are to receive that. Their name changes color in the chat, they're highlighted, and then they can access any members only content that the creator has. And that's really fun to see. So I don't ever feel like I'm asking my community. I offer what's available. And if they want to do that, that's fantastic. There's stuff there for them. And if they don't want to or can't, that's okay too, because I'm never going to exclude people. I don't just answer super chatted questions. I try to answer a wide variety of questions, but the rest of the chat can see the super chatted questions. They're much bolder. And sometimes people are super chatting just to talk to the other members of the chat, not necessarily to get my attention or to support me as a creator. And that is incredible. But the audience knows these are available on the platform. If you tell them that those are turned on, or tell them that they can have a membership and what's there, people will choose to do that or not. I don't think you really have to do much more than let them know what to expect. And I record my podcast with the members as a members only live stream. So they get a behind the scenes access to the podcast before it's edited, and they can watch my outtakes or me changing my mind midway through the podcast and shifting gears on how I talk about something. And they get to be there in real time as I do it, in addition to members only streams and members only content. But I let people know that's available, and I'm going to record a podcast anyway. Might as well do it with my members.
When I was putting together my membership, the conventional wisdom, and like I spend most of my time myth busting, but now I need you to myth bust me. The conventional wisdom was like, have a large corpus of free content because that's what lets people experience what you're doing. Have a low entry level membership because that gets a lot of people in the door and shows them what kind of value they can get. And then like make sure that what you do is sustainable, because it's very easy to overcommit to like members only streams every day or every hour, but also like merch, like sometimes merch, the cost for you of having merch that goes out with memberships becomes more than everything that you're bringing in from merch. But that also that there are some people who just love what you do and they want to be able to support you. And so like make sure you have levels that people who want to just like really like lean into supporting you can find and latch onto. But what is the current best practices for this?
Oh gosh, I think it really depends on the content creator and the community. I have memberships that I pay for a content creator like the Fitness Marshal, who is providing a lot of members content of workout videos, and that membership is at a different rate than a content creator that just provides members only chat on a live stream. So I think it's really creator specific. I think creators overthink it though. So best practices is don't overthink it. And if you're in doubt, ask your audience what they want. Generally what they want is to have more of a conversation with you. And if that means having the members only chat turned on, I have like pre and post parties on the live streams where the members only chat is on. And then when we stream, we turn it on to all subscribers. So the members get to get in the community and chat with each other. Even if I didn't do members only live stream, they enjoy that experience. I enjoy doing the members only live streams too. So it really depends on the creator and the community. I don't think there's any one right way. I think the right way to do it is to talk to your community and not overcommit. And remember, your community wants to be supportive of you as a creator. And so the way that you do that is to A, not overthink it, find what works for you best and work that into your existing workflow. And that might be for a shorts creator, the outtakes. I know how many outtakes it must take to create highly produced shorts. A community would love to see that, like how it gets made. And I don't think that's much more work for the creator. So it's really being specific to your community. I don't think there's one best practices, but isn't that true on YouTube? It really just depends.
Yeah, I have the same question for you, Bangaly, but from the other side, as someone who does product management and you have all of these creators and they have a lot of overlapping needs, but I'm sure each of them has their secret wish list with slightly different needs. How do you balance all the features that you're providing with, I know people don't believe that even like companies the size of YouTube can have limited resources, but you can't put the same engineer on 3 different things at once. How do you balance all that?
Yeah, it's a great question. We do have resource constraints, surprisingly. You would think that, like, YouTube, Google would have infinite resources, but alas, that is not the case. We try to talk to creators a lot and try to understand what pain points they have and how they think about what they're trying to achieve with their community. We try to find common threads that connect the dots, right? So, like, I met Emily. She was at VidCon last year. We spent time. We heard a lot of really interesting things from her. So the time with her and her team trying to understand what it is that they want. And then we also patch that together against, like, what are we hearing from similar types of creators who do memberships and do live streams often? Are there common threads? What are creators who are doing short form say? And so it's like some of the themes we heard, Emily actually brought up one. It's like, we want to be able to do lightweight content and not have to change our workflows. We want to be able to create a lot of value for our members without having to change the way we make content. So that's why we launched members only shorts, because we're like, okay, look, outtakes actually make sense behind the scenes. This stuff is happening anyway. Use it, and like it doesn't have to be polished, and your community will love it, and that's what we heard from creators. So I think that's one part. So like, how do you make higher quality, like great content without doing a lot of work? So members only shorts and early access were things that we wanted to be able to provide for that. Other things that we do is we really try to understand types of creators. So creators who are building communities versus creators who are doing entertainment versus creators who are doing like maybe fitness and sports. And what we tend to find is there seems to be a lot of commonalities between creators who are doing community, whether it's law community or gaming community or yoga community. They're still like trying to drive community at its essence. So we try to ask like, well, what do community creators want? And that's how we try to figure out like what makes the most sense so that we can unlock a lot of value for a lot of creators at the same time.
Emily mentioned a couple of things specifically like gifted memberships and members only shorts. Can you talk a little bit more about those products and how they're evolving?
I just joined about a little bit less than 2 years ago, and it is incredible to watch the excitement and the enthusiasm around gifting. Like, I didn't really get it, frankly, when I first joined. I was like, gifting? Like, why is that a big deal? And then you'd watch a couple of live streams, you watch people give gifts. Even like, well, now we've enabled creators to give gifts. And to Emily's point, like people really feel connected to the community and they want to share that connection. They want to be able to offer that opportunity to someone else, right? And when you see it in action, you're like, okay, I get it. This is why it's so meaningful. And so the evolution of that's like, we're trying to do a much better job of making this accessible, making sure creators have control of what tiers of memberships you can gift. And then making sure that people who are receiving the gifts are actually being able to use them. They don't get lost in all of the things that are happening in the live stream. Because there's so much that's going on. Like, you could have a creator like Emily having a great breakdown of what's going on, and you've got a lot going on in the chat. So we want to make sure people don't miss that opportunity when you get that gift. And so that's been really, really interesting to see evolve. And it's actually driven a lot of channel memberships growth. And then members only shorts is something that we just launched that was in the press recently, and we're super excited about it. It's just like it's a no-brainer for us, right? Creators are increasingly, some of them are increasingly using their mobile devices to upload content. To Emily's point, there's a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of outtakes, a lot of things going wrong in order to get something right. And some of that's like so authentic and so amazing that like creators do want to share it, but they have never really had the format to share it. And so we believe that members only shorts can be something that can be polished. It could be something that's really raw, it could be something that's like a blooper, and all of that's still very valuable. And so we're excited to see how creators are going to use it.
I've heard from creators often that with memberships, sometimes they decide between you want more of the topic, and you can find that in the member section. And sometimes it's you want more of me, and you can find that in the member section. Because there are some creators, like I think Casey Neistat could do a video on snow melting. He probably has, and people would watch it. Because the Casey Neistat's topic is Casey Neistat. But like for me, my topic was tech. And if I did something not tech, people wouldn't watch, like a very few people watch it, but not many would watch it. But if I made the point that my member section was less about tech and more about me, suddenly, and I've seen this with other creators, like there was a gaming creator who said that in her members section, you could find like fitness routines and nutrition plans and things very different than the topic of the main channel. And that sounds like for everyone who's dreamed of having that variety channel, like a very safe place to do that.
For sure. And it's really interesting. Like I think it completely makes sense, right? To Emily's point, you want to have authentic, on-topic conversation around the stuff that people are coming to you for in outside of the memberships. But within the membership, for the people who have decided to be a part of that space, some of it's like they want to go deeper on the topic. Some of it's like, I feel connected to you because you, like, I'm a law nerd, and because you are helping me to understand this, because we all have the same passion, I want to know about all the other things around this community. Like, and so help me to understand, to your point, like more about tech, more about like, you know, different topics about like your tech stack, right? Like all of that stuff becomes appealing once you feel like you have that connection. But it's really about the creator understanding and reading their community, because the community will also evolve, right? And to Emily's point, like just because your community might not be into what you're doing today doesn't mean that when your community grows by 100 or 200 or 500 members, it's not going to evolve and you're going to have more interest in that. So I think it gives you a lot of that creative freedom. And it's not just necessarily about the content. It's about like the lifestyle. It's about all of the things that go into your content as you decide and you figure out how to explore it.
To me, YouTube recently has been building towards just so many multiple options. You can sort of tailor your channel to what, like you can have multiple channels, of course, but you can also tailor your channel to, you can be a shorts creator, a long form creator, a live creator, a podcaster, but you can also combine elements of these. And you do that so well. Like you go live and you have a podcast that you do as premieres, but like they're replayable, like a long form video. How do you sort of pick and choose which parts of all the different options from YouTube you want to use to build your channel and your community?
It's going to sound like a really simple answer, Renee, but I pick what's easiest for me and what is sustainable. I have worked in a very hard career for a very long time. I want things to be easy, and I want to meet my community where they're at and where they expect me. And for me, editing videos and looking at my own face was not what I wanted to do. So I was like, I am never going to make content if I have to keep editing myself. And I wanted to answer the questions I was seeing in my comment section in real time. I'm like, oh, I wish I had thought of that, or if I didn't, I could have discussed this a better way. So live streaming became the vehicle for that real-time conversation. The podcast became the vehicle for a more nuanced legal discussion. And so that's how I started differentiating content. I do have a second channel for shorter content that is just a rundown of like, here's the update on these cases in case life is busy, but you don't want to get out of the loop on this case and feel like you can't catch up to re-engage in a live stream.
You mentioned the shorts too. And I think like originally when shorts came out, people would say it's great for discovery, but it's not great for community. People really want longer form to get to know you. But then features like Reply with Shorts started coming out. And there are whole channels now about like movies or fandoms or different sorts of like nerdery where almost every short is a reply with short, and then someone like leaves a comment and they reply to that comment, and the conversations build over these multiple shorts arcs, and it's almost like you're becoming part of the lore. And now we launched Vertical Live, and there's fan funding built into that too, so you can be discovered in the shorts feed. But then like Bangaly, you're like live, all these people are coming in and they can become members. They can super chat you, and that's another way to just build that community.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely want to give people so many options of building community. And to Emily's point, I think you just got to keep it simple. You got to do what's authentic for you. got to make it completely manageable and something that you feel like can scale. You're not going to feel overwhelmed. And just like bring the community in, like make sure that they can meet them where they are and they feel like they can take part in what you're doing, and you're going to evolve organically. And so all of these new formats like immersive live, shorts and reply by shorts are all things to help these creators to really figure out ways to connect the community. By the way, Emily, I didn't know you had a second channel, so I was just thinking before I came over, I was like, where are the shorts? I can't be watching
like and subscribe.
7-year-old and a 5-year-old. I was like, I need the sound bite, so I got to go find it now.
I call it quick bits because it lets people know that they're quick bits. There are quick bits episodes up there that are like 20 minutes long, which feels quick to me, but I realize it's not traditionally quick. But I love that things like vertical live streaming are rolling out to allow creators whose audience is used to seeing them in the vertical format to engage with live streaming from their phone in the way that they might be used to creating anyway, to try something new in a way that's easy for them. It really lets the creator pick and choose. And the great thing about being a creator is you don't have to choose to do everything. And that's okay too. There's no like wrong way to do it. You get to pick and then you get to build it. I picked what was easiest and most comfortable for me for the way I wanted to build a community. But I love, Renee, the reply by shorts allow the creator to engage in the way that's most comfortable for them and their community and still have a conversation. There's no limit to the way to do that if you pick what works best for you. I think where creators get hung up is trying to pick what's working best for somebody else and feeling like they have to fit into that box. And you don't. That creator's already in that box. Let them be there. You don't need to go jump in there with them. You can build your own thing. You can build your own table for you and your community and do it in a way that works for you. And I think for creators that worry, like, is this what I want to be doing 5 years from now? If you're creating content in a way that's really fun for you, you absolutely do. And I get asked that quite a lot. People are like, what's next for you in the next 3 years? I'm like, we've got trials backed up till 2025. Like, I talk trials. In 5 years, I would like to still be talking about trials. So people are like, what's next? I'm like, more of this. Like, that's what's next. I love what I do. And I can't imagine a legal case breaking in 5 years and not going, law nerds, you're never going to believe what just happened. I can't really picture my life without that.
So I want to make almost like a whiplash-inducing turn, because AI is not only the hottest topic, it's the hottest take right now. And I was curious because there are a bunch of creator tools, everything that will like cut down longer form content that you make, but also sweeten, enhance. How are you thinking about AI in your content? Or are you, Emily?
I'm not too worried about AI in my content. I'm more interested in talking about the legal ramifications of AI because I want to make sure that when I run into my audience in public, they still know that it's me and it's not a completely different situation. I just had this conversation on my podcast with Sir Mix-a-Lot about AI and music and the disconnect between, is there an artist behind this music talking about their life experiences and their art, or is it just beats that a program thinks will be popular? And that, I think there's a lot of room for AI to make incredible things, but I don't know yet if we're at the point where AI can do a legal breakdown of a case and explain what objections mean based on their experience as a trial attorney. So for me, I think it can be a great way for me to make my thumbnails look better, or maybe when I'm looking at a massive live chat with 100,000 people, if it can kind of start to distill the main themes or topics, or could we look at AI being able to tell my live audience where we're at in a trial when they pop in, so they're not saying, chat, what are we talking about? It'll just populate for them. Hey, we were just talking about this. This is what the chat's talking about. And people were also joking about this other thing, to kind of get everybody up to speed. I think there's a lot of room for it to be more inclusive and help people feel like when they jump into a stream, they know what's going on immediately. I think that's a very cool possibility. But with altered content and clipping down my content, I want to be in control of the context, because law has a lot of context. And when things get out of context, for me, AI doesn't necessarily know that this part of the conversation is related back to that earlier part of a conversation.
How are you thinking at it, Bangaly, in terms of delivering AI in products for creators?
So, I mean, this is like a hairy topic. It's, to Emily's point, there's a lot of things that AI can do well in terms of tooling to help creators to be smarter. And I think the tools are going to be really valuable, both for viewers on the viewer side to really understand the context, to be able to like interact a little bit better, to be able to figure out what's going on. And also for creators, like just helping them to understand, if you're getting a lot of chats, like in the live stream is going fast. How do you get a summary of what's going on? How do you even maybe help AI to help you to automate some of your responses in a way that feels authentic if you can't really get to them all? I think there's going to be a lot of really smart and valuable use cases like that we're thinking about. We're being a lot more cautious and intentional about really understanding around the content creation itself. We do think there's going to be a lot of value there for some types of creators. There are going to be some creators, some creators do this already with VTubers in Japan, for example, where they are really creating content that is not about their likeness, but it's an authentic character. And that authentic character is the thing that people relate to and connect to. And I think there's going to be a lot of value there, but you definitely want to make sure that you are building the tools and creating the safety systems to make sure that creators are protected, to make sure that there's nothing that's like a little too askew or viewers aren't being tricked into different situations. And so it's going to be a really interesting kind of future, but I think it's going to be very exciting. I'm not quite sure yet how we're going to make it all work with memberships, but I do think the tools are the things that we care about the most right now.
If someone just wants to get into memberships and community building, Emily, or they're stuck and they want to like jumpstart, they want to get it going again, what advice do you have for them?
You're not going to be surprised that my advice is talk to your community. I started my YouTube journey with 0 subscribers, just like everybody else starts their YouTube journey. And I have shifted the way I was creating content and what content I was creating as my life shifted. But when I found the thing that I wanted to talk about with my community for the next 5, 10, 15 foreseeable future, that's when I knew that this is what I'm doing for content. And it's the thing that when the law nerds run into me in the street, I can't wait to have a conversation with them about it. What is that thing for you as a creator that you want to make, that you want to talk about, that you want to share, that you want to highlight, that if somebody watches your videos and sees you on the street and says, oh my God, I watch your content, are you excited to have that conversation with them face to face and go, oh my God, we were just talking about this? Because that's what really drives it forward. And if you are stuck, figuring out what that thing is you really want to talk about is worth it. And for me, it took shifts and it took some false starts on what that thing was going to be. And that's okay. It's okay to be like, you know what? We live stream now. I'm scrapping what I used to do. And this is what feels right, because the audience will find you. It's not going to be immediate. I think people look for that immediate short form, like we're going to get 100 million subscribers in a month, but you can't easily have a conversation with 100 million people. So if you start with a channel that grows organically, you can lean in to that community and have more of a conversation. Because then as a creator, you're not stuck on what to make next. You can just ask them, I'm thinking about these 3 things. What would you like to see me make next? And let them vote on it. And then they'll tell you, and then you make it, and then they'll watch it. So it takes some of that pressure away. And it's okay if that conversation starts with 5 people. That's completely fine. So it's really figuring out what you want to bring forward and want to keep bringing forward.
Yeah, if you look at a creator and you think they're on top of the mountain and they just ran straight up to get there, it's quite often not the case. Often they had to circle and search and blaze trails and have false starts and go back and retrack their steps. And it was a journey getting there. So you have to figure out your own way there too.
I don't know anyone who didn't have a journey getting there. Truly.
I think that's lost on a lot of creators, though. Like, especially the newer creators, people feel like they look at you and they say, look, Emily, she has 700-something thousand subscribers and she's crushing it. They don't realize how long the journey was and how it was a series of, kind of learnings and mistakes and figuring it out. And so I think part of it's just like also not being afraid to make mistakes, like leaning into the thing you're passionate about, not being afraid to make mistakes, and just like not overcommitting yourself so that you burn out as you're going along this journey. So if you're going to make content once a week, great. Listen to your community, figure out what's best for you, do the best that you can, and see how it goes. And like listen and learn. And every week, if you're getting a little bit better and a little bit better, you will figure out what your rhythm is. And ultimately, you will lock into something where you feel really excited about and you really see traction.
I love that. One of my favorite things to do when I was starting out and feeling like not so great about things was to go to OG creators, sort by oldest, and just watch a few of their very first videos. Because like we're watching their polished product, but if you go back to their first videos, they have to put a lot of work in, and it makes you feel not quite so terrible about where you are right now.
I now react to some of my first videos in my members only live streams
I love it.
because those were my tech content and those are not still on my channel. Though I still have people in my community that are like, I remember you unboxing iPhones. I'm like, right, because I'm a fangirl and I loved it. But now I can take some of those older videos and react to them with my community. And it's really fun to get to go back with the people who have found me now and say, no, there's a vlog with me and my cat talking about my new camera. So we're going to go back and take a look at that. And it's really fun for me as a creator to be able to go back and look at some of those things with my community too.
But what kind of like gems do you get during those React videos? I wanna go back and read some of them. Like, what are people saying to you when they're watching you unboxing, you're reacting to that?
I mean, they're just like, oh my God, it's non-purple hair Emily. You're in a totally different setup. You're in your garage. You're talking about a purse. This is too funny. But the community's like, I will also kind of watch you talk about anything. And then we kind of joke about the cringiness of all the content that is like 2016 YouTube. But it was the content I enjoyed then too. And we've gone back and revisited some of my favorite YouTube videos from back in that time as a community. Like these are some of the like the gems that I remember from when I first started watching a lot of content on the platform. And it's really fun to take that walk back in time. And I enjoy doing that with the community because they get to know me a little bit better through what I'm also watching. And it's so fun. I'll mention often what I'm watching on platform and my community will be like, oh my God, I love that channel too. And even if I comment on another creator's video to see the other law nerds, like, oh my God, Emily, I see you. I watch this content too. I'm like, I know you watch this content too. We all are kind of like, we're all kind of in the same bucket here and we enjoy a lot of the same things. So I'm not surprised that the creators I enjoy that my community also enjoys.
Yeah.
It's always so fun.
Right, Emily, quick question for you. When you started your channel and you started talking about these deep legal breakdowns, did you have a sense that there were this many people who were this passionate as well? Or is this something you're like, I'm just passionate about this, and then people started coming out of the woodwork?
I had no idea. I wanted to talk about it. I had been doing legal consulting after I left the district attorney's office and was using my podcast to educate creators and business owners about the things they need to be mindful of through these legal stories. And as the legal stories were breaking faster, I needed a faster way to do it than a once a week podcast. And I was really nerdy about it and excited, like, oh my God, I can't believe this. This is going down. Like, we have to talk about it. I had no idea there would be such a large community. And my husband is like, are that many people going to want to talk about like law and like pop culture and stuff? And I'm like, I
Yes.
don't know. And my channel was at 5,000 subscribers. And that was September 2020, October 2020. It was not Easter, it was Halloween, October 31st, 2020. And my channel hit 10,000 subscribers, which was a milestone I never thought I would hit on YouTube. And I started talking about a case involving a YouTuber who had a beauty brand, and the traditional media wasn't covering it. Other lawyers weren't covering it, but those on YouTube wanted to understand, like, what does this actually mean? And what does this case say? And so I started explaining it. And then other creators were like, there's a lawyer on YouTube that was just talking about this. And so then it brought actual knowledge to the conversation. And I thought that was incredibly valuable to help inform even other creators that were curious about something with grounded legal conversation. And then it started growing from there. And the platform makes it very easy to stream trials and have conversations about them. And I never thought that would even be a thing in real time to do. And it absolutely took off. And that's the real-time trial coverage is absolutely what helped a lot of people find my channel, because those long stream days, people were looking for someone explaining things. And I was the person explaining things, and it's been a joy. But the channel was not a big channel by any means when I started covering just legal cases.
I'm going to put you on the spot for a second and just ask you, is there anything that you're working on now that you could just lightly tease for us? Just for Emily, for the Law Nerds, for
What's
everybody
the members
watching.
only preview?
Oh, you heard about that, huh? Well, I mean, look, I think one of the things that we heard a lot from creators, actually, so this is going back to us talking to creators. We were in Asia, we were in Tokyo, Singapore in the fall, talking to creators, talking to some of our team there, went around the US. And one of the things we heard is like people, it's actually a big use case for people wanting to have these live streams with like all of their audience, but then at some point saying, hey, you know what? Like we're going to actually transition to some very specific type of things that is really only going to be for members or people who want to pay to be in this part of the section, right? And so we want to be able to give creators like you, actually, Emily, a chance to have basically a members only stream, but like with a public section in front of it.
Wait, what? That's amazing. When I was joking, when I said members only preview, I was joking about us being the members getting a sneak peek.
This is actually something we're thinking about, right? And so we're actually building it. And so what's really important about this is we feel like sometimes people, from a viewer perspective, they're like, I know I love Emily's content. It's amazing. I don't really know what I'm getting for this members only stream. So like, I don't want to pay up front, but like, if I could get a taste of this, like this would be amazing. And we want to be able to give creators that optionality. So we believe that this can be so valuable in a lot of different ways, right? It can be valuable for entertainers, right? You can imagine your favorite entertainer who's going to play a set list and they have like 20 songs on the set list and you can watch the first 5, but then you have to be a member to watch the last 15, right? And that is like, you know, if you really want to experience what this entertainer is going to do and what they're going to deliver, then that could be a really interesting way of doing it. So that's one flavor of how we're thinking about it, but we think there's like really a lot of value that we can create by doing that.
God, there's so much room for like Q&As, like covering a topic and then doing a members only Q&A after. That's so cool.
Yeah. So like we think it's just like a blank canvas really to use it in whatever way you want. And you know, it's an option, right? Like it's not something that we're going to mandate anyone to do, but it's something that, you know, depending on how you want to use it, could be really, really interesting.
I love it. I love it. And I love the show so much. Emily, thank you so much for joining us. I always have a blast talking to you, and it was great to actually get down and do this podcast.
Absolutely. Thank both of you for the time. It's incredible to get to have conversations that I hope will help creators just create, just push play, right?
Bangaly, also thank you and the team so much for all the work you're putting into all this. And thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
Of course, this is amazing. Love spending the time. Emily, thank you so much. I want to be a law nerd, but I have 2 young kids, so maybe I'm just going to start leaning into the clips for now. And then once my kids go to bed, it just might be on in the background.
Do you have levels like law geek and then law nerd and then like law deep? Like,
I think anyone who's interested in the law really is a law nerd. There's no boundary to that. So Bangaly, I absolutely get it. With young kids, I've been there. My 12-year-old regularly tells me I'm not a real YouTuber, so I'm going to show him this podcast and remind him that I am in fact a YouTuber.
Tell him I said that you're a real YouTuber.
I absolutely will.
And everyone watching, creators, jump into those comments and give us your advice, your challenges, every single one of your questions. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it real.